take two of starting my very first YouTube stream, as well as going live on Twitch. We are now doing the multi-streaming because we can. And so today is going to be something a little bit different than what I've tried before, but it's much more in line for the type of streams that I would like to be doing moving into the future. Where before I'll go and stream just because it was something that was fun to do on top of me just playing video games, because that's cool, that's fun and all. But where I want the stream to really go is to be much more in a maybe like personal development or just like a growth type of mindset as far as everything goes. So not just being a better streamer, but being a better person, being a better gamer, doing all those types of things. So what the plan for today is that we are going to go through and watch some YouTube videos of well-established people on YouTube and on Twitch that are giving advice about how to grow their channel, be more entertaining on stream. And we're just going to follow their advice and see if this is good advice. I'm sure it is. These guys know what they're doing. They do it literally for a living, and they're some of the best at it. So we're going to do what we can to emulate whatever they have to say and see how this is going to affect this stream, affect streams going into the future, way into the future, man. So let's just dive right on in. I'm very new to the streaming thing, so we're gonna have a few hiccups, and that's fine. You know, there's a quote from Jake the dog that I adore, and he just says, being bad at something is the first step at getting kind of good at it. So that's what we're doing. We're being bad at it. We're taking those first steps on being kind of good at something. So let's just dive right in here and see what we have. All right, so this is essentially what I did. Grow as a streamer. Typed that right in on YouTube, and just came through. I clicked on a few things. I tried to stay away from anything that had like less than 10,000 views, especially over a year. Not trying to call anybody out here, but it just seems that it's probably not the type of advice that I want to be taking. There's a little rule of thumb that I really adore, which is that don't listen to anybody that you wouldn't trade places with, or don't take advice from anybody that you wouldn't trade places with. So let's go on here. So this guy has a handful of subscribers here. Something else that is interesting, I think that what ended up happening was that during COVID, everybody just started doing stuff online. So we'll see that this is 3 years old. This one here is, well, this is a year, but just going through, we're seeing like a lot of these being, oh, maybe I'm lying to you, but you know, 3-4 years old is going to be where we're seeing a lot of this advice. I'm sure that most of it's the same. I don't think that the basic ideas have changed all that much. I do believe that there's been quite a few changes that have happened in the streaming world, but who gives a hoot? All right, so let's see what this guy has to say.
Say to me, LJ, I'm boring. I don't know what to talk about. I'm not engaging, and I'm certainly not funny. I should just give up on becoming a streamer.
Nah, never that.
I always reply the exact same way. You're not boring, you're just a beginner, and you clearly lack confidence. And the best part is that all of those problems you've just addressed are so easy to fix. So let's do that today.
Let's do it, boy.
The major mindset that causes streamers to fail is thinking they have nothing to talk about and that they can't be entertaining. The core concept of today's video is going to show you just how much you do.
All right, so I'm just gonna go through. I'm gonna be stopping these a lot and just talking about how I'm feeling and what we're doing, just because that's that. What he's talking about right now, as far as having like not much to say, is not really how I feel. I certainly do have some things to say. Do I think that I'm hilarious or I have more to say than most people? No, that's not how I feel at all. But give me 1 second. I see that my mic is peaking a little bit. I'm gonna see if I can change that. My gain's already down. All right, whatever. So what am I trying to say here is I have a pretty good idea and direction of where I want to go for the stream. I know that what I want to be doing is just kind of advertising, getting better at stuff. There is a ton of media out there of, hey, get better, be better, at whatever you do. Take those chances, that it's okay to make some mistakes and just learn and to go through and figure out what works for you, what doesn't. And that's exact type of lane that I'm going in on. There's a lot of like skills and that I want to learn. Just a lot of skills I want to learn. One of them being streaming. And I'm just going to do that on stream. Just be bad. Do that with everybody. And that my goal is to allow other people to see the process of what it's like to be bad and to get a little bit better, and to know that that's fine. That's okay. There's no need to worry about it at all. And so as far as like having stuff to say, I'm just going to be talking through my learning process. And that's that. So this isn't quite an issue I see myself having a problem with, but let's continue.
In your day-to-day that you can turn into entertaining content. And I'm going to give you examples such as Bill Burr, Ludwig, and some of my own ones. More important than that, though, I do have time codes linked down in the description as well. So if you want to, you can skip to the very final tip in this entire video, which is the most important one as well. It has 0 downsides. You cannot fail at it. And if you actually follow through on that final tip, you'll become so much more engaging, so much more confident in yourself, and generally a better presenter in a matter of days. Speaking of being engaging, last time I asked you guys to like, comment, and subscribe to a video to help me with the algorithm, and it really worked. So you guys throw it out there again. Liking this video and commenting really helps us out, and subscribing is free. Let's first establish a major issue that might be causing you to create boring content, and how you might actually be the reason and the cause for it. This is easily fixed, but if we don't fix it, there is nothing in the world that can help you out when you're starting. You have to address this.
I will say, everything I just said about me having stuff to say doesn't mean that there isn't a part of me that is thinking to myself, oh, what if it is boring or not engaging, or why would anybody care what I'm doing? But so I think this is actually gonna be super relevant.
First problem. If your stream is gonna go for 3 hours, then you need to produce 3 hours of content. It's pretty simple, right? But what if I said to you, no, you need to produce 3 hours of engaging and entertaining content? Well, that becomes much more difficult. And it becomes even more difficult when you think about the fact that most of you guys aren't streaming for just 3 hours. A lot of you are streaming for 5 hours a session. Then we add on the fact that a lot of you guys are streaming 5 days or more a week. 5 days or more a week with 5 hours or more every single stream. That is a lot of content.
That's a ton of content.
When you're starting out, if you are streaming that much, you might be setting yourself up to produce boring content because you just can't fill so much time in your day. So my actionable tip straight out the gate, I recommend doing 3 to 4 days a week and doing 3 to 4 hours per stream. Don't push yourself any further than that, or else it becomes too much. The other problem is when you're not live, you probably spend a lot of time thinking about streaming. What you're going to play next, when you're going to go live, what you're going to do to try stand out, or you're just spending your time watching way too many streaming videos. Subscribe, by the way. And that is amazing that you're so passionate about streaming. But if you spend all of your time so focused on only streaming, well, then you lose something that is so important. You lose relatability and you lose stories. Essentially, by spending so much time focused on streaming, you become a less rounded person. If you're struggling to find things to talk about, then take a step back and look at your day-to-day first. Do you stay up late playing video games? Maybe you're watching TV. Are you a morning person or a night person? When you turn off the lights because you're going to sleep, do you have to sprint to your bed and quickly dive under the covers? Because we all know the axe-wielding murderer can't get you as long as you're under those sheets. What chores have you done this week? Which ones are fun to do and which ones suck? Actually, this one might be too straightforward. It's not very open-ended because we can all agree that doing the dishes is the best chore, tied with making the bed. And then on the complete opposite side, the worst ones are sweeping and vacuuming. That's just a fact.
Wait, why is that true? I actually kind of agree with that.
Only 90s kids remember this became so massive. It is because it is so relatable to a huge demographic, and it acknowledges people's existence. It makes them feel like they're a part of a group. They see the meme and they go, oh my God, that is totally me.
Oh, me too.
And this is the same for your day to day.
Do you guys remember Pokemon?
Every example I just gave you is something that I've used in my stream to create entertaining content and to engage chatters to be more active. But how does it become entertaining content? If I just said, I did the dishes today, well, that's not entertaining, and it's barely even an observation. When you're a beginner, I want you to start by thinking about opinions or observations that everyone can relate to on some level. It can either be
Excellent. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this a little bit. So I think and I'm hoping that the way that I can keep this entertaining for everybody is the learning of new skills. Whether so, a couple of big ones that I want to be doing is learning how to draw. I used to doodle a lot in high school. I got okay at it, but then since then haven't taken the time to continue doing that. So it's something I want to do. Learning how to play an instrument, that's also something that I care about doing. Would like to do that on stream, and then cooking. Those are the big three, in no particular order. Probably the order would probably be cooking, drawing, instrument is going to be the what I'm going to do. Then when I'm not doing that, playing video games, just playing video games, because I mean, what else are we doing? Honestly, and so I'm hoping that that's going to be at least entertaining for people. And there was something else I was going to say. I'm sure it was wildly interesting. It'll come back to me.
Heavily agreed upon, but at the same time, you're better off being in the minority because it sparks better
Oh, the being relatable. I was gonna say that being relatable. I think that we can all relate at just being bad at stuff. I don't know a single person that's just like so good at everything that enjoys doing anything. You know.
conversation. So rather than saying, I did the dishes today, you'd say, man, I was doing the dishes today, and I swear, anyone who doesn't agree that doing the dishes is the best chore is an absolute sucker. This sparks conversation because people go, what? Doing the dishes sucks. You touch random squishy things in the water, and I'm not a sucker for disliking that. And then they reply in chat defending their view. But at the same time, you don't need the chat reply. It's just, it's easier when starting out to have someone to bounce off. Next, you double down and give more details. You get more specific and become more visual, and it generally becomes more engaging. For example, you're absolutely wrong. I'm standing there this morning doing my dishes. I'm in my underwear and one wet sock that I used to clean up some coffee that I spilled. We've all been there.
Sounds
awesome.
awesome.
Birds are singing outside as I scrub some cheese off a frying pan, and I'm blissful. I'm more zen than Buddhist monks will ever even know, because I know for a fact that my wife, who's fed into the same anti-dishes propaganda the rest of you sheeple have fallen for, that she's not only going to wash and hang out my underwear, but she's going to be happy that she gets to do that rather than do the dishes. Who really has the worst chore? Me, who's...
I don't know, but I'm going to talk about why I think I like doing dishes. And when I say like doing dishes, I'm not like stoked to be doing the dishes, but I also am not like hating it. It's funny. I know people that are going to hear me say that and be like, Brian, you're lying. Do all of our faces right now. But when I was a kid growing up, my parents had this brilliant idea at some point just to have me play with my action figures in the sink. They're like, hey, why don't you just have like a water level for your Spider-Man versus the Undertaker? And I was like, okay, cool. And so I just was a kid playing with my action figures in the sink. And so now when I do dishes, I don't hate it. And I think that they got me accustomed to just standing in front of the sink, just getting something done.
Scrubbing cheese off a frying pan, or my wife who's scrubbing cheese off my underwear.
Yikes.
You establish a setting with details that people can understand, relate to, or at least recognize. You escalate it at absurdity, and then you
don't act like everybody's gonna recognize what we just saw. We know what we're doing here, streaming on the internet. Not everyone knows what we're looking at.
You subvert expectations with a punchline. It becomes a story with a payoff. I quickly wrote that example for this video because it has a clear structure and it shows you how a mundane task can be turned into something exaggerated and entertaining. It isn't perfect, but it works for the example. And I really want to point out the subversion of expectations at the end. Everyone is thinking it's about chores. They're not expecting to hear someone talk about crusty, cheesy underwear. Sometimes the best thing you can do is subvert expectations. For example, like this. Guess what I'm eating right now? One of your faves, Rach. You're eating dick. Good for you.
Classic.
A lot of creators just forget about punchlines. They'll tell a whole story and there's no payoff at the end. There's no fun moment, cute moment. There's no wholesome moment. There's just no reason they told the story. There's no payoff. And it leaves you...
I'm going to go ahead and say that this is good advice for not just streaming, but just regular stuff. If you just know, if something happens to you in life and you want to go tell that story later, just prepare yourself to make sure that there's something at the end. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with just like changing the order of events like a little bit, just to make sure that at the end of the story it crushes, or at least has like a nice send off, right? Like that is the best. Like having to sit down with somebody and them telling you something that just goes on, and then it becomes kind of monotone, and then at some point in like the middle of the story it gets like pretty exciting, and they don't want to finish telling the story because that they have your attention, and then it just kind of continues to talk about nothing in the rest of the day and how that they went home after this thing that happened to them, and well, they just ended up watching something on Netflix.
Feeling blue-balled and like they were just trying to fill dead air rather than trying to keep you entertained. See, I'm not an expert, I'm still learning how to do all this, but if you look at professional comedians like Bill Burr, or if we're talking about streamers, you can look at someone like Ludwig, because at these people's core, they are professional storytellers. The reason I reference Ludwig is because he follows this process with almost every single story he tells and with almost every single joke he tells. In the example we're about to watch, he doesn't need to obviously engage his chat, become active and get them riled up. He just needs to tell a funny story. And I think it's a really good example of how you can do that.
Somebody came up to me and asked for a picture in Las Vegas. They walk up to me. I'm minding my own business, playing craps. You know how I do. Come on, shooters, get a yo. Guy comes up to me. Hey, you're Ludwig. Yeah, what's up? You want a picture or something? No, I actually don't watch you at all, ever. I'm not even making this up. He literally said that.
Can you see how he took a story about...
Yeah, so something I want to say about that Ludwig story, because I think this is great, is that he really emphasized everything he was saying. It wasn't just the punchline of that guy not watching him at all, but he took the time, he really emphasized where he was at. He took the time to really say what he was doing. He was doing the hand gestures. You really got a sense of scale for the size of these people because of the way he was like looking up and looking down at that person. That was really excellent. And then just to bring it back to me, because that's what we're doing today. Something personally that I really want to make sure that I'm doing is enunciate my words and to make sure that I'm speaking in full sentences without doing the QXC thing where I start rambling and stuttering over myself and I don't really know what I'm saying. I do it all the time, and going back just like that, and going back and watching myself speak is pretty freaking painful because I know what I'm saying in my head and my mouth wants to say something else. It's a real struggle that I've been going through. So it's just one of those skills that we're learning.
About being recognized in public and set up not one, but 5 jokes that all made him more relatable and more engaging to his audience. Trying to act cool at the crabs table, redoing the other guy's entrance to make him shorter than him, adding a deeper voice, pausing mid-conversation to throw dice, and finally the punchline where we find out the guy doesn't even watch him. This most likely isn't how the story actually goes. He probably didn't put on a deeper voice, and he probably didn't pause mid-conversation to throw his dice. But the exaggeration and the willingness to joke about his own shortcomings makes the payoff perfect for his audience, while also making him so much more relatable and so much more down to earth. And I really think this is one of the reasons why Ludwig is one of the greatest creators.
I'm gonna pause this real quick just to talk to Feet Police. Yeah, dude, I'm actually playing it on stream. I have 2 VODs up on my Twitch right now for playing that, and then I'm playing it after this. So what we're doing is we're going through learning how to stream and then playing Cyberpunk after that.
The internet right now. Whether his content is your cup of tea or not doesn't really matter, because I think if you break down creators like Ludwig or comedians like Bill Burr, you can learn a lot about storytelling and being engaging. That is just a fact. Not everybody is a natural born storyteller, and that's fine. Dude. I have a tip coming up soon that'll help you practice these skills, become more confident, and become way more engaging very easily. But first, let's talk a little bit about other places you can draw inspiration from for stories and for content. What hobbies and
Fantastic.
interests do you have, and can you share those with your viewers? Most people on Twitch play video games, so that is a really good place to start.
Great
what games
place
are
to
coming
start.
out? What cliches do you hate? What game is severely underrated, or what game is severely overrated? I once joined a stream and listened to a guy rant about how much he hated Red Dead Redemption 2 for 2 hours. I couldn't look away. The lunatic just kept going. And it worked. Everyone was yelling at him in chat. Everyone was telling him he was wrong. I don't even know if he was wrong at this point. It was just so engaging to listen to. You can talk about TV shows, anime, books, documentary.
Wait, hold on. I just am reading this for the first time right now. I don't know what he's playing, but why is this sentence, is duct tape safe for keeping the poopy in? And the thing I somehow care about more is the answer. Only one way to find out, boys.
Games, whatever it is, a lot of pop culture is beloved and will always be trending. And if you're engaging in it, then you can engage others in conversation about it. As I said earlier, you should probably have some hobbies outside of streaming. Maybe you like to cook, photography, board games, juggling. Maybe you're a rock climber.
Oh,
Actually,
photography is something
not
else.
The last one. If you're a rock climber, you'd probably have no trouble talking for hours, because every rock climber I've ever met, all they do is talk about rock climbing. You don't even have to draw inspiration only from things.
Just to say, this is photography and working with cameras is absolutely something else that I want to be doing on stream. One of those skills that I want to really hone in on, and I think that it's playing with cameras on stream. It goes together so freaking well. I mean, I'm using a camera right now. The camera that I'm using, I didn't even get for streaming. I was just like, hey, I can just use this. Nice, perfect.
That are happening in your day-to-day. You can take inspiration from things that happened in the past as well. School and work stories are some of the most relatable stories that you can possibly tell. Everyone went to school, and everyone knows that one kid that said, you know, if the teacher's not here in 15 minutes, then we can legally leave. And there are so many other things that we can all relate to. For example, everyone has had terrible bosses and everyone has had terrible jobs. Have you ever traveled overseas? Have you ever taken a road trip? Have you ever peed in a bottle because you're trying to avoid missing your League of Legends Q pop? These are staple life experiences that every single human on the planet has done.
Yeah, like
they are
peeing in
all
sinks.
relatable, and you can use them as bases to create observations and entertaining content. So what I want you to do is get a notebook, get a pen, and spend some time thinking about stories from school, stories from work, and generally things that have happened to you that you think are relatable to people. I think most people don't realize that everything I've talked about so far is a skill that you can practice at and become better at. But how do you do that? Well, you become better at it the same way you become better at doing anything.
Perfect.
Just
doing
by
it.
doing it.
That's what we're doing
But I know you're
literally
gonna
right
say,
now.
Streaming is nerve-wracking. You might get teased by your friends. You might look
I'm
dumb
nervous
and
right
you might
now.
fail. And there are two ways.
I'm gonna talk about this. All right, so I have an Instagram account that I just have had, and I haven't really posted it to it for like a long time. And I have accumulated like a handful of people that I just know in real life on Instagram. Great. That Instagram handle is the same handle that I'm using to stream with, Zero Buttery Biscuit Zero. And if you're asking why Zero Buttery Biscuit Zero, is because the headcanon, those zeros are little biscuits keeping my name nice and safe, nice, cozy, warm, delicious. Nice little supple exterior. And so I wanted to post on my Instagram, or even to put like clips or shorts, whatever that, I don't know exactly what to call that horizontal, or excuse me, the vertical style that TikTok is using, and that social media, everything that just belongs on your phone is using. And because there's so many people that I know there, friends, people, coworkers, things of that nature, I'm a little bit concerned and nervous about posting this content on there. And I just have to get over it. And I know that there's going to be people that are like, don't care about this. But like, whatever, right? Ban him from my chat. No, they're going to ban me from their feed. And honestly, for the best, because there's going to be a couple people, I'm sure, that are going to be like, yo, this dude's streaming now, and he's posting on YouTube because that's what he's doing. And like, that's cool too, I guess. I don't know. We're just figuring it out. We're learning. Exactly like you said. The only way to learn is to do. And the only way to do is to try.
I can
That's
help you with
right.
that. The first is by saying that, yeah, you might fail and you might look dumb, but
Yeah.
you're going to be way more upset with yourself if you don't at least try to become better at this thing you want to do. And
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
second thing that'll help you with this might be the most important and most valuable tip I will ever give you on this channel.
Oh boy.
If you want to have zero fear of failing and zero fear of looking dumb while you practice, then all you need to do is get your phone or sit down at your webcam and hit record. Don't prepare anything, don't come up with notes, and then spend 10 minutes recording yourself on camera, talking and trying to be entertaining and engaging.
Yeah, I
When
did
those
that
10 minutes is up,
for a
stop
little bit.
recording and do not watch it back. Put it aside, put it away.
Oh,
the
I
next
did.
day,
I
want
did
you to
watch
sit
it back.
down and I want you to
Oh.
watch back the whole 10 minutes. Don't have anything playing in the background. Don't be distracted.
Yeah.
Just watch your 10-minute clip. The moment that 10-minute clip is done, hit record and start recording another 10 minutes. Try and be entertaining and try and be engaging. Stop after 10 minutes, don't watch it back. Go to the next day, rinse and repeat this process daily. Not only will you notice that you become an incredibly confident speaker if you actually work to improve as you go, but you'll also notice it becomes much easier to fill those 10 minutes. And this is the most crucial part. Because if you can't fill 10 minutes
He's learning
without
magic.
a chat helping you, without other engagement, without other notes, then you're not going to be able to fill 3 to 5 hours of stream without a chat. And if you can't do this without a chat, if you can't be entertaining without a chat to bounce off, well, then you can't be entertaining with a chat. That's just a fact.
That makes
This has been
perfect
about
sense to me.
2,100 words to talk about how you can draw from life experiences to create entertaining content. But I really think a big takeaway was something I said right at the start, where I talked about creating a life balance with streaming. I see you guys commenting about how you missed a friend's birthday party to maintain a consistent schedule, how you no longer have time to enjoy the things you want to do because you spend all of it working on streams.
Yeah, it seems
You're not
like a
spending
huge
time with
mistake.
your family and your loved ones. But it is so important you keep yourself open to these experiences and you keep this balance intact. Not only because, yes, it'll give you stories and content to talk about while you're live, but it will also make sure that you're not feeling drained and dead while you're live. If you don't have this balance, you will start hating streaming. And if you hate your stream, nobody else is going to enjoy it.
Yeah. This is a great video. I don't know if he said his name. Stream Scheme. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit here. I'll link this in chat too. Go give this guy some love. I think that this is pretty good. It's funny. I hit 3. I did 3 links. I know, or I feel as though that other streamers do spam it 3 times, and I think that's also because they have so many people in chat. They're just trying to make it like obvious where it is. Whatever, dude. But here, let's do a quick rundown of this. Yeah, I think this guy has a lot of good advice just about doing it, making sure that the things that you're doing outside of streaming becomes relevant to inside of streaming. That's definitely good advice, because if you don't have anything to talk about, then you don't have anything to talk about. Like, for example, does anybody work with somebody and all they do is talk about work while you're at work, and you're just like, I know, man, I work with you, I'm here, I saw the thing that you're telling me about literally this morning. And then they have like nothing going on. Maybe they watched like half of a baseball game 2 years ago, and they just talk to you about how much they hate baseball because how boring it is, because nothing ever happens. But that's just their life in a nutshell. And you're like, don't you see that you're like a game of baseball? I'm sitting here for 9 full innings without the 7th inning stretch because you have nothing to talk about. Anyway, I know that that's super duper likely, and that we've all worked with somebody like that. And let's not be that guy. And then he finishes it off too with something, and like, I'm sure that we've all seen clips of people that have been streaming for a while. They don't have a huge following or whatever, and they're just like breaking down about how they've sacrificed all their social life to be streaming and that they hate it. And then their chat becomes this like cesspool of people that are like picking on them for not having the social life, and their community starts to implode on itself. And because that's becomes what the entertaining part is. No, thank you. No freaking thank you. So, yeah, good video. This guy certainly knows what he's talking about. Let's see if he has his Twitch down here. I'm sure he must, right? Growth Twitch guide. Most recent videos, cool timeline, Streamlab guides, Facebook, Twitter. Interesting. Oh, here we go. Twitch. Let's smash on here. Let's look at his schedule. Does he have anything scheduled? Some chatting. All right, I'm gonna hit this guy out to follow. Nice. Great. All right, so now because I don't really know how all this functions, like I said before too, this is also my first time streaming on YouTube, but I want to have like relatively organized VODs. So I'm going to shut this off for just 1 second, come back on, so hopefully my VODs stay organized. I'm sure I could do it on the back end, but that's something that I'm just going to learn later. So for now, I'm gonna just do a quick old stop and start, and then we're gonna go and see what Ludwig has to say. This is gonna be a pretty big chunk of time here. It looks like Ludwig has lots to say. So be right back, boys.